Hey guys, Jay here. I know it's been, a couple weeks since the last time I did a review. It's been really hectic. Started my second year at college. I had a full-time internship. I got 3 cats. And I've been taking 5 classes. So, everything's been up in the air so far as life. But I was able to squeeze in a couple of books, hopefully. But I was able to actually finish one in my most recent days. Everybody knows this book. It was a big hit movie. Nick Robinson was in it. Everything by Nicola Yoon. And this, it's been a little hyped up. Not much. But the movie was like almost an indie movie. But I honestly thought it was very well written. I give it an 8 out of 10. It was great. The story was good. It was compelling. It made me want to read more. And with how the chapters were set up, they were short little chapters. And with how I read, I'll read a chapter, and then I'll start to read, and when I get tired, I'll be like, I'll finish at the end of this chapter. And I looked at the next page, and it was like, the chapter's a little short. I'll just, after this chapter, and then after this chapter, and after this chapter, and just kept going and going and going, until I finally devoured the entire damn book. But again, it was an 8 out of 10. I'm about to read you guys the synopsis. Again, no spoiler reviews. I don't do that. Especially since I'm a person who hates spoilers. So whenever, I love having a spoiler warning, whenever I watch reviews myself, and I just skip right over it. My disease is as rare as it is famous. Basically, I'm allergic to the world. I don't leave my house, have not left my house in 17 years. The only people I ever see are my mom and my nurse, Carla. But then one day, a moving truck arrives next door. I look out my window and I see him. He's tall, lean, and wearing all black. Black t-shirt, black jeans, black sneakers, and a black knit cap that covers his hair completely. He catches me looking and stares at me. I stare right back. His name is Ollie. Maybe we can't predict the future, but we can predict some things. For example, I am certainly going to fall in love with Ollie. It's almost certainly going to be a disaster. So the book is about this young girl, Maddie. She lives in her house. She never leaves. She's basically in a giant bubble. She has this disease which makes her allergic to the world. It's called SCID, S-C-I-D. I don't completely remember what it actually stands for, but it means that anything can trigger an extreme reaction in her, and it could possibly kill her. It happened a couple of times while she was young. She was always getting sick. Her parents didn't know what to do. And so they had gone to and gotten a diagnostic, and she had SCID. So she's been in this air bubble of a house her entire life. The front door has an air filter that sucks away the bacteria from you as you enter the house. And you have to stay in there for a little bit, have the bacteria sucked from you so that you're not carrying in anything that could trigger the SCID that Maddie has. She doesn't ever get to see anyone. She only sees her mom and Carla, as stated. From time to time, which is almost never, she'll get a visit from one of her teachers. She actually is homeschooled. It will state in the book she takes all of her classes online. There's no human person-to-person interaction or anything like that. And then there's this new guy, Ollie, the boy next door. That stereotypical bad boy facade. And it's, the story starts in August before the semester starts. So they have a little bit of time to get to know each other. They email, really. And then as time goes on, they start to get to know each other through IMing and everything. Carla starts tapping off things with mom. She starts being a little more obsessed with Ollie because she's never actually had to talk to anybody. She had no one to talk to in all of her years. So Ollie comes along and she's made a new friend, which she starts to not hang out with her mother as much anymore, which starts raising some questions in her mom, asking her if she's okay, thinking this happened, that happened, and her disease is starting to act up and flare up. And she said, no, nothing's happening. And Carla, of course, being as close as she is with Maddie, catches on to her talking to Ollie. So she arranges meetings for Maddie and Ollie to meet in person while her mother's out. And so they start to meet about maybe once a week, as long as Maddie promises to start hanging out with her mother more, which she does. And things are going good for a while until it doesn't. Let me see, without trying to spoil. They fall in love, obviously. It is a romance. It's a young adult teen romance novel. And they fall in love. There's an absolute no touching rule, just in case. Should anything trigger. They touch, they kiss. It's her first and last. It's her first last kiss. I mean, it's her last first kiss. Sorry. In all basicalities. Some events snowball. She ends up breaking up with Ollie to an extent. An altercation happens in Ollie's family. She goes out and she tries to help. And she does actually go out to the outside world for the first time. I'm only telling you that because it's as predictable as the book would get. Teen living in the bubble world, she's not going to stay there for long, as all teens want to get out. Especially in these kind of books. So she goes out. Her mother finds out about the whole, relationship of Ollie and Maddie and has them break off. No internet. Carla gets fired from being her nurse, and she gets a new nurse because Carla apparently was endangering her by letting the boy in while she wasn't home. And that eventually snowballs to Maddie wanting to leave the bubble. At first, she wants to stay in her bubble, stay with her mother, this, that, and the third, to save herself from the heartbreak and from ever having to use her heart again, so she doesn't get even more heartbroken. But she does eventually want to leave, and she does with Ollie. Of course, it's a runaway story together. They leave. Certain events happen to where they go. They end up being temporarily separated. Maddie learns some things about herself, learns some things about her family. Carla comes back, and that's as much spoiler as I will tell you. Only because some of the events are predictable, but at the same time, not so much. And again, I completely promised that this would be a spoiler-free review. But if you want to know what happens to Maddie, what happens between her and Ollie, if they ever, finalize this relationship of theirs and define it, well, you gotta read the book. I'm not your reader. I'm not your e-reader for you. But as things go, it gets better. It's not a John Green book. There is not tragedy. There's not utter and complete tragedy. It's not one of those. It's not The Fault in Our Stars. And I've read that. I've cried. I've been spoiled of what happened in The Fault in Our Stars, and I still cried when I got to the part. But in all cases, an 8 out of 10 for this book. It's very well written. The format, I love it. I honestly do. There are diagrams, writing, note-taking. Maddie actually reads books and writes little Tumblr book reviews. And it's actually, put into the book as a chapter. And you can read the book and read what she writes about it. Which is really only a sentence. She tells you a spoiler of the book. So if you plan on reading some of those, I know Flowers of Algernon is in it. The Little Prince. Something else. I can't really remember all too well. There were some other books where she wrote something about heartbreak. But again, if you want to be able to see everything, the format's very nicely done. There are drawings, diagrams, book reviews. The chapters are short. You can get through them really quickly, even though it's about a 200 to 300 page book. It'll make you want to keep going. If you're a reader like me that likes to go to the end of the chapter, at the beginning of the next chapter to be able to bookmark instead of bookmarking in the middle, because I think it's a little annoying. I won't remember what happened the first part of the chapter, and then I have to reread it over again. But if you're one of those readers, you'll be able to get through this book fairly quickly, especially with the chapters being so short as they are. About 2 to 3 pages with a bunch of drawings, diagrams, diary entries, book reviews, all in between. So, an 8 out of 10, Everything by Nicola Yoon. The next book I'm reading, I'm currently reading The Third Twin. I don't remember who it's by. It's a very difficult last name, and I can't remember it. Currently reading also Shadow Shapers. Again by, I think, a Daniel Jose something. I was reading also The Glass Castle by Jeanette something or other. I can't remember author names for the life of me. I'm so freaking sorry. Jeanette Walls, I think it was. Those are currently 3 books I'm actually a couple chapters into right now. And Life and Death. The new Twilight Reimagined 2015 edition that's gender bent, which I think is really cool. I honestly think it's like so awesome that the author herself, Stephanie Myers, decided to gender bend her own book and like fan fiction it, which is really cool, which you only really get from like fanfiction.net or Quotev or articles of our own, which I do have account on all 3, by the way. I am also an avid fanfiction reader, but that's beside the point. Those are like 4 books I'm currently reading. Depending on how fast I get through even one of them, I'll put up a review as soon as I possibly can. But again, I'm still on an indefinite hiatus. Without schools coming up, I'm trying to get through my last year. I'm trying to graduate my associates. And I bought a Kindle. So, you'll be seeing me show off my new little Kindle e-reader, all pretty and nice like, soon. I've had to cut down my library. I've had to downsize, so I'm very sad. But a Kindle e-reader. I'm very excited to get it. So, all in all, I'll see you guys next time.